So, how are you doing today?
Pretty. Yeah, it seems like this is a conference call Tuesday, and it sounds like that's the case for a lot of people. And have you already done the roll call?
Yes, I have everything I need, and I'm happy to report that we have a quorum in attendance, so feel free to conduct official team business.
All right, excellent. Well, that sounds good. And I know there's a lot of planning meetings going on this week in Washington. So it's good that we're able to get an abundance of team members to participate and be on this call. And there is going to be some changes down the road for Central Region, but with respect to having a new member coming on, and I'll touch base with you about this through an email. Randy Graham is going to be the Deputy SSD under Bruce Smith for Central Region. So I'm sure Randy's probably going to have some role that he'll probably be playing. But we don't know yet, so I'm going to talk to Randy and see what his intentions are and plans. I believe he comes on board to Central Region SSD sometime the middle of March, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll clarify that and get in touch with you guys. As far as my responsibilities, I don't have anything in addition. Looks like we're in good shape, so I will turn it back over to you guys.
Alrighty. Ken, are you ready to take us through what the VLST has been up to?
Sure. So we've been, as I suspect you guys would imagine, we've been dedicating most of our time to this DXP upgrade, which is the VLCS upgrade of the underlying infrastructure. As I highlighted last time and gave you a demo, we're continuing that. We were sidetracked a bit last week by all the issues with an IDP, so we had to do some, production type support. But fortunately, things appear to be, for the most part, back on track. We're still dealing with some issues on the development side within the infrastructure that are preventing our instances from working as they should in terms of speed and things. So that's a bit frustrating because we're wanting to open up the development instance of VLCS to the community as a whole, and specifically, like, well, you guys have access through the VET, but performance is rather poor right now because the underlying infrastructure is having problems, and so I'm hoping that NCO will be able to address that soon. But we continue to plug along, fixing things. The site itself is looking much better. We're working through some things like workflow and stuff like that. But that's where all of our effort, or almost all of our effort, other than production type support, is going at this moment. So I don't have any specific tickets to outline today or cover today, but if there are specific questions, I can address those.
Alrighty, cool. I noticed we had at our last meeting invited folks to provide the VLST, but most specifically, I guess, Ken, feedback on the latest look and feel for what we envision to be the new VLab DXP coming up. I noticed, I guess, Brian provided us some good feedback. Encourage those who have not yet taken a look and want to give us some thoughts to please do that, because we really do value the feedback from this organization in particular. All right, any questions for Ken?
This is Steve Mango. I was wondering, in that regard, to trying to connect to give an idea about what the VLab development was going to be like. I didn't do it much ahead of time, but just a little while ago, when I clicked on the link that was there, it came up with a not secure, and it had crossed out HTTPS.
Yeah, on the
I don't know
Yeah,
how to
the
get
development.
there again.
Yeah, so the development tier within IDP, they're not using actual certificates from GoDaddy like they do for production side. They're using self-signed certificates. So that's expected. You have to go in and trust it, and it's their so the certificates are being generated on those machines themselves. So you have to tell your browser that yeah, it's okay to go there. So.
Okay, but this is Google interceding on I know whether or not I want to send some system information and page content to Google to help detect dangerous apps. When I hit the connect thing that comes up on that page with up in the banner or the window, browser window, like I said, the HTTPS is crossed out in red to
right.
secure. And when I hit the connect button, it doesn't get me anywhere.
So it's expected that you'd have the crossed out. So if I go to, I'm just doing it myself, to the VLab-dev.ncest.gov, the first thing you're going to see is you'll say your connection is not private. Attackers might be trying to steal your information, and that's you click on advanced at that point.
Yeah, I'd like to, but I'm not there. What happens when I say connect? It comes up with in the browser window www.gstatic.com/generate_204. And it's just sitting there and not doing anything.
Okay, so you're going to the...
I tried it both from my desk as well as on the guest connection. I'm using. I logged in with my NOAA credentials. And
Steve?
Yeah.
I'm trying to share the desktop with you. Can we take a look and see what you're seeing, and maybe we can help you?
I guess so. Let me get back.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
And then you'll have to...
I'm trying.
All right.
Yeah. This is the screen that came up when I hit the connect.
Can you?
I'll go back. I can't even go back on that. Let's see. Yeah. I'll start from the beginning. You see I'm on the page
Right.
with the link, VLab development site.
Yep.
I'm clicking on it. This is quite different. This is the fifth time I tried it, and this is the first time that it's trying to load something.
All right.
Yeah, this is what came up before.
Not secure.
Not
Okay,
secure.
that's expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what do you do from here? The only thing that on this screen that seemed like I could do, I didn't want to send the information to Google, so the only thing I saw I could do would be to say connect. This is when I said connect. It came up with that in the browser window, that gstatic.com/generate_204.
Are you on a Wi-Fi network or something?
Right now I am, but I did it from my desk when I was on the NOAA Ethernet.
Yeah, because that's redirecting you to something completely unrelated to our site.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not at my desk to show you that I was getting that same page coming up with crossed out, not secure.
Maybe John.
Yep.
Maybe John and Ken, you could coordinate with Steve offline to try to fix those issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be good. I hope that I mean, if anybody else is having this problem, if you don't take care of it, nobody's going to be able to read it.
I was able to get to it. I don't know if anybody else has had any problems on the call. If they can, please let people know.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely get with you, Steve, and help you work through that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, if there's no other questions for Ken, then I guess we're ready to move on to our next agenda item, which happens to be... Yep.
No, John, before you go on, like you said, I did send some feedback, and yeah, I want to again encourage anybody else who has some feedback, takes a look at it, to provide that. And Ken, if you're able to, once things die down, or if you have a chance to once we give it a little bit longer to respond, that would be appreciated.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let's see. I guess we're going to consider a couple candidate issues. The first one is 38296. John Brost had suggested this one as a potential candidate for us to endorse. And it deals with VLab needs a more intuitive way to get back to the landing page. We had discussed this at our last meeting, but had decided maybe to postpone it a bit till we had a chance to take a look at the new DXP look and feel to see if maybe this issue might have been mitigated by changes there. I went ahead and basically took a look at the new look and feel, which you can sort of see an example here. And if you happen to be, say, in the VITS community and you want to get back to the the landing page, you're basically presented with the same sort of option that you had before, which is really just to click on the VLabs icon. So I don't think the look and feel is going to, basically solve this problem for us. And so we may want to once again consider whether or not we want to endorse it.
I would second an endorsement of this issue.
Okay.
Assuming that Southern Region still wants to consider this. But I think it was an issue brought up by the Weather Service Sioux survey.
Right.
So I would put a nomination for it, and hopefully somebody else can second it.
I'll second that. This is David.
Alrighty. So we will, as a team, endorse that particular issue. Okay. And then we had a second item that Reed Walcott had suggested, was championing for us. And this one involved a user, and I know this is something that other users have sort of commented on as well, is as they're surveying the list of potential communities, there's always this desire to know, well, how active is this? Because if you go through these communities one by one, you'll notice that there are a decent number of them that were created, and then it appears as though nothing really ever became of that community. So in an effort to sort of weed out or filter through those, this particular issue has been raised for us. And there's a number of ways that we could potentially address it, but the underlying issue is, it's hard to figure out whether or not communities that you might be interested in are in fact sort of actively being managed and used. Does anyone have any questions on sort of the issue at hand? Or okay. Would anyone like to nominate this one to for endorsement?
I'll do it in the absence of Reed.
Okay.
And look for a second.
This is David. I'll second that one as well.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll add that to our list of VIT endorsed issues, and they'll make their way to the ranking spreadsheet. So look forward to an invitation to review them. And that then brings us to the one issue that we have on our ranking spreadsheet. And let me see if I can bring that up. So currently, we have had very good input for issue, here we go, 41275, which is earmarked to create a portlet that would allow for community announcements, ones that were only visible to community members. And the only folks we're still waiting on are Pacific Region, NIMFS, and let's see, yep, Tammy provided her input. Wonderful. So we're only looking for 2 folks, and they typically are very hard to provide input. So I can basically recommend that if with the concurrence of the rest of the team, that we basically close the ranking process, and I'll update the ticket as appropriate. Is the team in agreement that that's a way to proceed?
I agree. This is Tammy.
All right.
I basically agree, but I was wondering if I could ask for a clarification on the way that it's written. What it really talks about is in the description, we should really create a version of the portlet called Community Announcements that only displays announcements appropriate for the community that it is displayed in. And I would have actually ranked this slightly higher than I did for Nesdis, if indeed it really was across the board VLab community announcements. This already, the way it's worded, already implies that you're into that community and you only see the community announcements, but there's no place that I know of that has the across the board announcements. Thought that might be more useful in the hierarchy of announcements.
We do have, the virtual lab does have what's called the announcements portlet, and if you'll give me a second, I think I can throw it up here. So let me go up here. We'll just add a new portlet to our page here, and I think it's available, right? So there we go. There's the announcements portlet. We'll just throw it over here, and oops. So basically this portlet operates such that I'm a member of a bunch of communities, and people are posting announcements to their communities to include the virtual lab community. So if we want to get a message out, perhaps we can add this to the virtual lab community's announcement portlet, and then wherever I go, I will see all those announcements for communities that I'm a member of. Now, the one thing I won't see are announcements in communities that I'm not a member of. But the good news is, since we are all members of the virtual lab community, any announcements made to that particular community will be visible to everybody. So in some sense, the announcements portlet, as it is currently configured, does allow you to see all announcements that are relevant to you. Is that kind of what you were looking for?
That's the item I was trying to address, and I guess it kind of felt like we're at the highest level under VLab, that there might be announcements regardless of community or communities that you're in. In other words, are there still members that are not necessarily in any one or more communities that would still get into VLab? And wouldn't you want them to see important announcements?
So let's see. I think this is, let me go to, let me just bring up a new version. Okay, so one thing, just to show you, hold on a second. Here's my version. Okay. So one of the things that we've tried to do to address, I think, your concern is on the landing page. Let's see. I think it's here. Oh, well, that's not what I really want to say. What I really want to say is we have this What's New page. And on here we have a column dedicated to VLab News. And this is where we put information of general interest to all VLab members. So if one wants to maintain sort of awareness of what's going on, they can subscribe to this particular portlet, and then they'll receive emails when new items are added to it. Is that kind of the thing you were looking for, sort of this keeping
Yes.
folks aware of what's going on?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that on the landing page, if that's directly there, and that's right there up and toward the upper left, and that's fine.
Yeah, there's the what's new, and then
I missed it. I should have made the correlation between the titles, news, and announcements, but I didn't. And I didn't think in terms of this being covering that. It just seemed that the action item that was being considered assumes that it applied to only when you were matching down to the particular community that you're in, or communities, as you said. But yeah, this is the thing I was looking for. I didn't put it together. It covers the base that I was hoping would be covered.
okay,
Thank you.
sure. All right. Let's see. So this we will close out the ranking process on the existing existing item, and update the ticket so the virtual lab support team is aware that we've ranked this is a 9. Okay. That brings us in the agenda to the open forum. Dave, would you like to lead us in that portion of our agenda? Are you there, David?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted.
Oh, sorry. Yep. We couldn't hear you.
So yeah, we're at open forum here. Was there anything that was in addition to that? I don't have anything in addition to add. I don't know if there was anything that anybody else on the call wanted to raise up or bring awareness to.
John, maybe this is Brian, just to touch on the 2 things that were possibilities for this agenda that got moved. One, the VLab director brief, hopefully for the next call, because the VLab director was busy today. And then also, we did look into the strategic planning team, and they were unable to present today. And hopefully next time we'll try to get them on, if you can work on that.
Right. I know Bill Ward had indicated that he had a very busy schedule to date, but that things were kind of easing up a bit, and he thought he might be able to return to the very important work of the strategic planning.
Yeah, so we'll stay on those 2 things.
Right. Okay. Shall we take a quick look at open action items? Let's see. I think I have them over.
That sounds good.
All right. Open action items. I don't think I actually have it open at the moment, so let me do that. And quickly go to our community. And we have our, where is it? There we go, meetings. Okay. So we go down to open action items, and they're marked in green in our minutes. So we can scroll down through the backlog, or the history of what we've been up to. So we have one back from basically 2016, where we knew we needed a draft charter for our strategic planning team so that their mission and goals would be well established. And that's on Bill's docket to work. And that may very well be something he'll brief us on at our next meeting. Tammy's been working with Eric on some ideas that he had and seeing if there's anything that would merit a VIT ticket. Did you have an update for us on this, Tammy?
No, I don't. I still don't really have any good examples to give Eric so that he can say, yes, I like that, or no, I like something slightly different. Because if you recall, his presentation was, here are things that don't work really well for us, and we'd like to see them work better to get people more engaged in our community page.
Right.
So I had asked the group if they had any examples of communities that were getting a good level of engagement.
I think I provided a list of heavily used communities. Let me see if I can dig that up again.
Yeah, you may have, and I might have lost track of it in my email.
I'm not sure that, I mean, it may very well be useful to Eric, and I think we should definitely make sure he has that list if he doesn't already. So let me provide the list to the group of the current top 10 visited sites within the VLab.
And by top 10 visited, does that mean you're also getting people? Because I think one of his main issues was that people weren't engaging in forum topics on his page, and he wanted to know how can people find out when there's a new topic, and how can I get people to engage in dialogue on the fora page?
Okay. What I'll do is I'll highlight in our top 10 the ones that seem to be making good use of forums.
Okay.
And then he can focus his attention perhaps on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think fundamentally he's just trying to find a way to get people to be more collaborative through the VLab community.
Yeah, oftentimes one of the best sources of that kind of information really is to, take advantage of all the different things that are out there on the web. Find something that really seems to, wow, pique this is the wow factor kind of thing, and perhaps bring that to our attention, because there's nothing like, imitating these very successful sites to, make our site better. So.
Right.
Alrighty. Going down. Let's see. This again is for Bill Ward, and one of the things he wanted to include in his charter was some consideration for, sort of policy topics that can guide the virtual lab through, through some new strategic capability. We have, let's see, has this one been done, Ken? Probably not, since you've been working so heavily on the DXP stuff. If you're still there.
Yeah, I'm still here. At all, that was the one that I'm dealing with in DXP.
In DXP.
So,
okay.
Yeah,
so I'll make a note of that.
It'll be there with DXP. Yeah.
I'll make a note of that for our thing, so we remember that next time around. Okay. Moving down, we've got a couple at the end here, which let's see. So.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Quick question for you. Ken and I are talking for the threads, specifically the one that you started on the DXP. Does Ken have access to the VIT forum threads?
He should.
To the VIT community?
Yes.
I just need to, apparently I may not be subscribed to that one, so I'll add myself. And yeah, I hadn't realized that Brian had submitted feedback, so
okay.
So I'll take care of that now then.
Sure. I'm sorry, Ken. I tried to add everyone on the team, and I just assumed that you would be.
No, that's no problem. I'll take care of it right now. So.
Sure. So we had, and these both can be closed now. I was to basically schedule the discussion of this ticket that we just finished discussing as a candidate, and then also I was to add a strategic planning team agenda item, but it was determined that there wasn't really any update to be made, so we've postponed that for a future meeting.
But I would keep that last one open.
Would you? Okay.
To just continue to ask until they provide an update. That
okay.
Keep following up before meetings.
We'll leave it open.
Yeah.
And I will follow up prior. Basically, we'll take a look, say halfway between now and when our next meeting is, to see if it's the next meeting would be appropriate time to have an agenda item on the strategic planning team.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So that completes that agenda item, and I've got a list of a few things that we need to do in terms of new action items. One of the things, let's see, we're going to work, Ken and I, perhaps maybe I'll start off initially helping Steve Mango with his inability to connect to the development version of the virtual lab. See if we can get him squared away there. We also endorsed 2 new issues, so I will make sure those get to the ranking spreadsheet and update the tickets appropriately to indicate their new status. I will basically close the ranking on our current open issue and update the ranking number so that we can pass that on to the virtual lab support team. There's I will include in the minutes references to the director's update, which we didn't have, and that it'll be at the end of March. And then we'll also continue to work towards planning. I'll get the strategic planning team to give us an update. Need to provide the top 10 visited VLS or virtual lab communities, and indicate which ones are heavily users of forums. And I think that's all I have on my list. Was there anything else that I need to put on our agenda? Alrighty, cool. I'll turn it back over to David, and he can wrap things up.
Okay, yeah, thanks for all of that. And sounds like we'll have probably a pretty good meeting lined up for next month. But I'll be anxious to hear the feedback from the folks that weren't able to be on the call. So anyway, I appreciate everybody being on this call, and I guess have a good rest of your day.
All right, thanks.